So part two here, okay? So life, liberty, and the American way, okay? Can it be said that any of that is guaranteed when the state defects from law and chooses not to protect the lives of the patriots and instead institutes a system of negligence and abandonment and terrorism that ultimately allows people to be made homeless and die on the streets? They say that they will never be a socialist country, and yet the first promise of their constitution is to guarantee basic provision for their patriots by guaranteeing life. Because otherwise, there would be no such thing as liberty, right? How are you at liberty when you are bound to the state in ways that cause you to have to go into their education program from youth? You never get to work for yourself until maybe you're in your teens or late 20s. If you live up to the expectations of capitalists and the public sector that require any kind of education, in order to gain access to position, you most certainly might not be working until you're in your 20s, maybe even 30s altogether, after, if you have to get some kind of a doctorate or something like that. Even just a master's, the way some people have to go hard to get at it, working part ways through it in order to pay off debts and what have you, just to make sure you're not strangled for life. Okay, so they don't guarantee life. They've abandoned the patriot unto death. Like I said, it's a Holocaust government. Okay, it's tribal Satanism. See the last video and the other videos that I had put out on tribal Satanism. Okay, so that tribal Satanism is based fundamentally on a lie, the pretense of law and logic, okay, because otherwise modern evolving people would never take it seriously. The West had to include it. Philosophy had been achieved. Logic and reason had been seen as paramount. With the Pythagoreans, math had been shown to be the triumph of something like agnosticism, which we'll discuss in the future. Agnosticism, the basis of real faith, the basis of science. Okay, it's not atheism, it's agnosticism, the question. Okay, openness to the question. These things had been achieved, and it was known that relationship with the truth was required in order to gain mastery and control and ultimately accurately represent the facts of the matter pertaining to the universe. Okay, so no country is going to allow a state to emerge that has no interest in the truth. Okay, but as had been done since the ancient world, they've been pairing that state, or the pretense of a state like that pretended law based on logic. They had been marrying that to nonsense, magical thinking, religion that intentionally broke the accomplishment of that reason and logic, which is the purpose of religion and is the purpose of marrying religion to the state. Okay? Oh, well, we have logic and reason, but that's not good enough. We have to listen to the priestly class. That's all of a sudden going to make us bow to gibberish and nonsense. The turn where, okay, we're on moral path of thought. Oh, no. That's not good. We have to all of a sudden, it makes sense to derail into magical thinking and illogic and, unethical behavior unto even death and murder. Their symbol of God is one that professes a requirement for blood sacrifice and murder. Even if he takes it on himself, he basically validates, if you believe he is to be the ruler, the satanic blood sacrifice system, which is nonsense. There no such thing was required by the God of Eden. And it was all these witchy satanic religions, this wickedness, that was the basis of God's war against the people throughout the entire Bible. So Jesus is not the Son of God, And, you'll see, it makes sense. He never talks to God, but he's got a real close relationship with Satan. And he definitely followed Satan's prescription in the high place in the Judean desert. Even John pointing out the fact that there's a link with Elijah, so we have to assume it's Mount Carmel, the throne of Satan, where the old priests of Baal used to sacrifice animals and people. Courted his own death for 40 days and 40 nights until he got a meeting with the master of disaster, who may be Satan himself or maybe just King Herod going for another round. You know, the wanderer. Check the Hebrew meaning of their names. Knowing to meet him there. And he goes out wandering and sowing his wild oats. We'll get into who I think Jesus is in later videos. Okay, so they marry the state to some nonsense. And in so doing, they have all kinds of crazy arguments for things that are absolutely inexcusable and unforgivable, namely the destruction of innocent people. And they ongoing, institute the legitimacy of an ongoing terrorist threat as dangled in front of you, like the Jews used to always do. They used to always do that. We're going to kill you. We're going to kill you. Eat the lamb, or else we're going to kill your kids. Remember back in Egypt? Oh, yeah, baby, We will do that shit. Okay, very serious, ongoing threat. It's a threat. It's a threat. All Jews know it's a threat. So it's a satanic threat. So do you have... Life has been denied because they've accepted Holocaust. They're a fascist Holocaust government in the West today, parading around as a democracy run by law, but they are not, because they continue to accept Holocaust and they continue to ignore the law. With politics, which is now the new religion, that show no requirement to follow the law and protect life. All of their political parties dodge that and allow for Holocaust to occur. And that's what makes them a religion, a dark satanic religion based on black magic, killing, and lying. They're necromancers. They have a necromantic inheritance because, well, Jesus was a necromancer. All his miracles, we'll do a video about that, all his miracles are explained by necromancy, as necromancy was known to the Romans in that day. At that time, they were prosecuting necromancers all the time. Even the priestly class who were corrupt and evil, also in the Judaic faith, the Hebrew faith, also knew he was a necromancer. The Pharisees were outright saying it. And they weren't wrong, because they were validated with Jesus' own behaviors and actions at different chapters. Namely, when he went to the high place in Judean desert to meet with Satan. When he cast out legion from the homeless person, it shows that he appeases demons by sacrificing animals and poisoning waters, and thus making it possible for people to be reinfected with that evil spirit. He's known to poison waters and make people drunk with waters. It's proven over. There are a number of chapters we can go into it. These are necromancy things to do. They're known. They're the basics of necromancy. Everybody knows it. Even in the Roman day, they knew it. They weren't surprised when they heard who he was and he showed up. Oh, hey there, King of the Jews. And there's more to that King of the Jews thing to come. But anyway, look, I digress. Back to the States. They accept Holocaust. So is there such a thing as liberty when liberation is to be liberated from tyranny? Well, they're a government of lawless, anarchistic Holocaust. Therefore, it's a tyranny. Therefore, do they have liberty? No, they don't. There is no liberty in the States. It will never be a socialist country. All you have to do is provide for the basics of life when people are lining up to be patriots. You don't kill the ones that don't win the game of musical chairs. They don't get preferred and hired by your fucking public sector and private profiteers. So, is one able to pursue happiness truly when they're living under tyranny and fear of being the next victim of Holocaust? That's my question to you. No, of course not. So their preamble is absolute bullshit. So right off the face, before we even get to law, we know that they're a nation that only pretends law and speaks it in order to gain your belief, so that you will do things out of a state of belief and false, wrongly given trust. But we know right before we even begin to read any single part of their documents at law that define the state that they're corrupt, that they're anarchists. They're anarchists. They practice an evil religion. So, I just wanted to go there, end it there today. I don't want to keep going on here. This is part 2 of the two-parter on life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and satanic tribal Satanism slash fascism, okay, versus a government of law and democracy, okay? Watch them both. It'll make a lot more sense then. I'm going to stop right now because I have to do some things.